Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another Broodwar ladder battle cast here. We've got Rich in the bottom left versus Mong. We're just checking in on Mong. It's been a while since we've casted some of this mukbangers content. Mong, a classic, an absolute character, and just an all-around interesting player. Kind of defies what we generally think of as the rule when it comes to Starcraft Broodwar, is that Terrans generally have a better win rate versus Zergs and a worse win rate versus Protoss. Mong is the exact opposite. He has an amazing win rate in the ASL versus Protoss and an abysmal win rate versus Zerg. So I think a lot of that comes down to his mech play, so much stronger than his bio. His bio play is, well, it's not really top tier, that's for sure. And that's what it needs to be if you want to do well in ASL. It's not like he can't play bio, but his vulture control, his mech control is just so much better. And so we're going to be watching him here going up against Rich, who's a very strong ladder player. We've been casting a lot of games of him versus various ladder pros. It's because he plays a lot of games. He just plays a lot of ladder games. And he's coasting along at that top tier of S rank. And so he just constantly meets pros all the time. Hasn't been able to show up and get into ASL. As far as I know, I don't think he's been in ASL yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments, but I don't think he's been in ASL. And if he has, he's only made it to the round of 24. But could be someday he turns that around, since he's playing so much and practicing so much. Maybe he puts in the last little bit. It's always the hardest. It's kind of one of those funny things where getting to from 0 to 90% is like, you know, it's getting into the top 10%. It's about 50% of the effort, and then getting from the top 10% to the top 1% is the other 50%. It's like double the effort to get up into that top 1%, and he's already at the top 1%. Now to get to the top 0.1%, you're gonna have to double the effort again, an extra 100% effort, something like that. I'm sure I messed up that explanation, but I think you guys get my gist. It's a lot harder to go from the top 10 to the top 1, and then the top 1% to the top 0.1% is magnitudes harder than either of those two feats. And so Rich is in the process of making his way from that top 1% to the 0.1 or the 0.01. And we'll see how he does here versus Mong, who tried to slip a vulture past. Definitely a bit of a risk. And in fact, he's almost getting tracked down here over in the top center. See, Rich very adamant about trying to find that vulture. It managed to slip around the right-hand side, though. Will stay alive. Mines are going to be placed out on the map. Mong does not get punished for that little bit of greed. Wow, double miss there. That's pretty rough. Doesn't miss, though, at the top of the ramp. Looked like he might be shooting up to high ground there, but it turns out not to be the case. He has picked off that one mine, but this is exactly what Mong wants. He just wants some map control so he can feel safe here. If any sort of, you know, DT or something comes walking out, he'll have vision. Might even get some damage on that, and then has some time to react. If a bunch of units start spilling out, then he can do likewise. Right now, adding on an engineering bay, and it's not going to be any sort of DT play. Just 2 gateway into observer. The middle of the road build here for Rich. Not the most defensive play you can go. That would be 3 gate goon observer. That would be as defensive as it gets. Instead, going a bit middle of the road with 2 gateways. Not going to get greedy and just go for 1. He is planning on getting this Nexus out here for the 3rd momentarily. As the 2nd observer comes out, we'll begin to clear everything. You can see he's being very cautious with all the Dragoons here in the main base, making sure in case there's some sort of drop coming in now that he will be well prepared. He sees the main with that 1st observer and is well aware of what's going on here. I would say this is a very good build to copy if you're going to be playing on the ladder. You may want to go 3 gate goon into observer, but learning to walk that fine line, I think it's very strong. Just 1st observer goes to find out what the Terran's up to while you defend in the main with Dragoons. And then the 2nd observer comes to clear. Then you take your Nexus. Then you build Reavers and go for a drop. It's just everything lines up very nicely here. You've got defense at every point. You're not skipping over anything critical. And you're not going to be easily punished by the Terran player. It does need to keep something in this wall. There's an opportunity now or a run by. Oh, it looks like Mong's going to get right in here. This is a big problem for Rich. He could end up losing quite a lot of probes here. I would say 3, 4 have gone down so far. 5, potentially 6 probes. Looks like he won't get it. But you can see 4 probe advantage, 4 worker advantage now going to Mong, who's adding on some extra factories right now, going up to 5 fact. And has his +1 on the way. He's delayed siege by a long time, and this is a very late siege. And would be under a little bit of pressure if Rich decided to get a tiny bit aggressive with these Dragoons, but has opted instead to just scout the map and get prepared for a 4th base while this 3rd comes online. He's got everything set up very defensively, but once again, not in that wall with his Dragoon, leaving a bit of an opening there. Oh, I missed a Reaver drop. We'll picture that. Usually don't miss those. I apologize. But we will get that picture-in-picture down here at the bottom right-hand corner. Now we'll see how much damage was done. I don't think it was that much. Could have been, you know, 2, 3 SCVs, maybe 4 SCVs, possibly. The Reaver survived. The Zealot survived as well. And so this still remains a pretty big threat. 2 Reavers in that shuttle. Shuttle still almost at full HP. Dragoons coming across the map. Gonna look for some damage here. A couple of shots with the Reaver. Only gets a couple of vultures there. And Mong moving up onto this high ground, taking that. And getting prepared for this 3rd to come and fly out just before 10 minutes. Not bad, going all the way up to 7 factories before ever adding a starport. And we'll see if he even decides to add one. He might not go for starport at all. Nice catch there with the Reavers, picking off these vultures that are pesky, driving around looking for kills and looking for damage. Bit hard to defend this from vultures completely and prevent any sort of damage. 4th base on the way here. It's a bit of a later 4th for Rich. He's going to be sitting on 3 base to 3 base for quite some time, actually. Doesn't really favor him. He will have a larger count of gateways and a larger army to potentially stop an early move by Mong, but I don't think he's really planning to move out just yet. I think he's going to, yeah, go up to another factory. Oh my god. 8 factories. He is definitely going for a huge attack coming up here soon. Looks like this observer can't really see the extent of factory production that's been added at this point. Big shot there. Ooh. A lot of damage on those vultures. Reavers here in the front. Going to be catching some more vultures sent out on harassment duty. You'll be replacing those shortly, though. With this many factories pumping vulture, like, you're pumping basically pure vulture off of all of these. And then 2 factory tank. He probably should add another... Oh, Reavers into the natural again. Kind of surprising that he still wanted to try that. Just diving in on the natural. When there's already 2 turrets here and a Goliath. A little bit crazy. Might have gotten another couple of kills there. I'll picture in picture once again. Yeah, I think he could afford to put another add-on here. But he's pushing out across the map now. Let's take a look at the upgrades. 1 +1 only. +1 armor about to finish. This is a very strong 1-1 timing from Mong. Got a good amount of tanks here. And he's going to be rallying up a huge number of vultures to this front. Here comes the zealots, though. That's a lot of zealots, guys. There's not very many mines in the front of this, and those storms are deadly. Oh my gosh, he's gonna get absolutely crushed. Wow. Rich smashes that. I thought he was gonna have a good number of units since he did have that later 4th, but this was absolutely overwhelming. Great mine connection there. Actually kills like almost every zealot. Wow. The vulture cleanup here is pretty darn good. And now the Dragoons are going to die as well. So just pure macro here from Mong, carrying him pretty far in this game. He has lost all of his tanks, though. Those tanks are going to take a while to replace. Going to begin kiting these vultures back. More vultures on the way right now. It's 5. I think he can have even 6. Oh, there's the 3rd add-on. So yeah, adds it after he loses all of those tanks. He does start a starport and a 4th base. Gonna be catching a lot of probes here over at the 4th. This is some really big damage. So many kills there. And actually, he's gonna kill every probe at that base. Nearly 1 probe left over. Tank's thinking about moving out right now, but it's not a good time. Drops here. Gonna prevent this 4th base from coming up for free. He even forces the cancel in top left. Mong fighting back strong despite losing that full army. Is still making a game out of this. He's going to start his science facility now. Here comes the drop into the natural. Not going to miss this one. Storms. Oh, that's a lot of storm. That is indeed a lot of storm. And a decent number of kills as well. 41 workers left here for Mong. To the 58 probes of Rich. 4th base, though. Looks like it's going to finish. And all of those shuttles went down. So no more shuttles right now. Means it's going to be a little bit difficult for Rich to push any of these positions. No mines over here. Mong going to rush to get into position. Get those mines going. He can defend this position. He sees the full weight of the army over here on the north side. And will respond accordingly, unsieging tanks and moving into position to stop this. Here comes the attack. 2 shuttles just popped out, but immediately loses the Reavers in that attack. He will have to be falling back. It's just the 1-1 here, but that was a really nice hold. Good target fire on the shuttles. Shuts down that attack. And This is anybody's game right now. Honestly, this is, I would say, a pretty reasonable spot for Mong. Might even give him the advantage. It's hard to do so after the Terran player loses so many tanks, and they're this far behind in upgrades. Not that he's behind in terms of Protoss having a lot of upgrades, but just that he's way behind the curve of when you should be having these upgrades coming online. We're here at the 16-minute mark. He hasn't even started +2. Hasn't even started it. So completely forgot about that. Mong will live to regret that, I think. Killing off these tanks here. Trying to press the third base with just 3 tanks. It's not going to work. He's hoping to create a distraction. Oh my gosh, he's going to kill so many High Templars. Not able to jump up into those shuttles in time to save the High Templar, and so he will lose a lot there. I think that was a total of like 6 High Templars went down. If you include the Archons that had to be made. And I do personally include the Archons. They are worthless. Nearly worthless in this matchup. Still no +2, guys. Still no +2. He built this science facility and didn't do anything with it. I mean, he just... Okay, he's got 1 science vessel on the way. But he has not noticed that +2 has yet to begin. Drop over here into the center right. Mong making big mistakes, and now he's really going to get punished. His 4th base. Getting ransacked here. Quite a few SCVs go down. Not the biggest damage, but still pretty painful. Only at 147 supply, but very close behind where Rich is at right now while he sets up the top left. Mong is going to try and take top right. He starts +2 finally. I'm sure he's shaking his head right now. Mortified that that didn't start until just this moment. He's got a couple of lines of defense. One here. This ramp over here at the bottom of the 3rd base, and then this one over here. Bit of an opening up here that maybe Rich could take advantage of. If he can maneuver his army all the way around to the top side, he could come through here and bust this base for sure. Zealots are just going to be landed over here along with some storms. Definitely going to be able to storm a lot of these SCVs. Pretty good dodge, though. Pretty good dodge overall. Can he get one last one? There it is. He gets the big storm there on the retreating SCVs. Coming in for some more damage here. One more storm. A few more SCV kills. Not bad at all for Rich, who's continuing to put holes in the economy here of Mong while he tries to split the map in half, waiting for those upgrades that will probably finish, you know, +3 around the, what, 30-minute mark? Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy how late these upgrades are. But Mong gonna hang in there for now. Still alive. Lots of CCs, so he can remake a lot of these SCVs. And Rich is not that big yet. He's on 5 base. He's gonna be getting his 6 here. But Mong is also on 5 base. And that's pretty good. It's not bad at all. Gonna drop on top these tanks, get some good damage. Not bad, not bad. Picking up a tank or here. A tank or 2 here or there. Big army moving through the center of the map. Another little drop over here. Softening up the defenses a little bit. But a lot of these tanks do survive. Another Zealot bomb there. Doing some work. Goliaths need to finish off some of these shuttles. Still no +2. It would be a real anti-timing to attack right now. So I think just maneuvering between the top right and the natural is probably a good idea. Gonna move forward and siege. Is this a good enough siege line to actually punch through? +2 is kicked in at the last moment here. Big storms on a lot of these tanks. Tank army here to the bottom side is actually going to crush these Dragoons if Rich continues to engage. Falling back. Good time to turn around there. Honestly, a really reasonable engage for Rich. Did quite a bit of damage. Dropped him down to 125 supply, but it's not good enough. Like, if he was, you know, controlling the top left and Mong didn't have these bases over here, this would be great for Rich. But Rich just barely won that fight, and Mong has top right. So this is a bit of a problem. He's gonna go around again, look for some more damage with shuttles, which is definitely reasonable. Here's another turret actually in the main. That'll kill one of the shuttles. Not bad. Oh, it's all zealots. That's funny. So vultures can just clear this. That is kind of hilarious. Army gonna come around the top side. This is the location I was talking about earlier. The one that appeared to be a hole in the defense, and in fact, it's gonna be somewhat taken advantage of by Rich. Rich trying to take 6 o'clock. I don't think that'll stand. If Mong finds out about it, he's gonna shut that down most likely. Zealots here up into the main base, but really there's nothing that these zealots can do. He needs storms to deal damage to these SCV lines. Otherwise, he's going to get very little out of those investments. +3 is on the way for Mong. Rich is done 3-2 now. And another drop over into the top right. This one should be a little bit stronger, I think. Okay, it's mostly zealots too, but 2 reavers could actually get a lot of work done here. Taking off some of these tanks. Here we go. EMP on the reavers is kind of funny. That's going to help to clear those out eventually, I think. But yeah, there's the potential. Just pick those up and keep running backwards. We should go after this missile turret. Oh, he can land out of range and start to hit the SCV line. Not bad. Deal some damage here. Kill some SCVs, most likely. Actually, most of these are going to survive. Over in the corner there. Oh, he loses the shuttle. Ooh, that's not good. Lost the shuttle with 2 reavers inside. And now there's a potential we go to a split map situation. A very good potential for that, actually. Mong can just batten down, take this space, send a few tanks down here, kill this. And Rich, I mean, I don't know if he wants to play that super long game, that crazy late game. He's going to come over here, try to attack in towards the natural. But army is being brought forward. Reinforcements have arrived. Big storms on a lot of these vultures there. Actually doing quite a bit of work, but the Dragoons are running dry. And the supplies are looking to be in favor of Mong now. Setting up turrets all in this area. Making sure that it's hard, no matter what, for Rich to try to drop into that location. Rich no longer growing. He's kind of halted on that growth. And he never really sent a lot of probes down to this base. The 6 o'clock has never really paid for itself, unfortunately. We'll see if he can get some money out of it now. But he is beginning to dry up. Natural, third, and main, all empty of minerals. Getting some additional gas geysers online now. There's the scan, though. Rich has been spotted. Mong knows about that base down at 6 o'clock. He's going to send some forces over there to contend with that here in a moment, I imagine. Just a couple of tanks, most likely, and a few vultures to try and get rid of it as soon as possible. Scans in the main and top left. Mong just checking to make sure that there's not a carrier transition or something like that happening right now. That's his main concern. Yeah, just 1 tank sent down here. That's funny. One tank alone gonna do a lot of damage. Oh, we got to drop over here. Top right once again. Trying to get some more SCV kills. There we go. Pretty good damage with some of these high Templars, but the SCV count stands at 59. That's a lot. That is a very good amount of SCVs. Mong is certainly closing this game out now. Slowly but surely. It feels like Rich kind of ran out of ideas in this game. Maybe not used to playing quite to this length. It feels like he's having a hard time keeping up past the 6 base count mark. A player like Snow will just keep expanding endlessly, non-stop expanding absolutely everywhere and taking the entire map. While doing all of these drops and everything. And just growing and growing and growing while the Terran player gets stifled by the harassment. But it doesn't seem like Rich has been able to do that. He is, however, coming into this high ground area, trying to take a fight with Mong's army, trying to drag a mine there. Just cannot get that mine to drag. Everything dying a little bit too fast. And the tanks coming up here are going to be enough to drive everything away. Doesn't have any storms for these big clumps of tanks now that are pushing forward. And so these Dragoons will just have to run, allow 6 o'clock to go down most likely, while he takes another base over here at the top left. This base should have been taken quite a long time ago, and I really feel like we're seeing the limits of what Rich can do. I feel like he's quite a powerful early game Protoss player. Mid game, his timings are quite strong, and his macro and micro are pretty top tier, but you can see the limitations he has when it comes to late game, when it comes to these really big armies, and trying to grow at the same time as keeping the Terran player down. Mong is just outperforming and getting bigger and bigger, locking down his win condition here. He knows that as long as he holds top right and prevents a counter coming into his natural and, you know, getting on top of his factories, he's going to be fine. His upgrades are all finished, all except for +3 armor. He's got tons of turrets over here in the top right. It'll be super hard to do any sort of a drop there now. And there's no other techs that are coming here. He's been checking, he's been scanning, making sure that this is all that Rich has. Just a gateway army with a few high Templar and a lot of Storm. Tanks are in too high of number at this point. That's so many tanks. It's got to be like 2 to 3 control groups of tanks alone. Gonna kind of walk into this army a little bit. Throws down an EMP though. Storms here. Doing pretty well. This is about as good as Rich could hope for. This is the Terran army just kind of walking directly into him. And then able to drop and get a lot of those storms off. That's probably not going to happen again. And Mong is now ahead in supply. He's going to begin putting the pressure on by coming across, setting up in the natural of top left. It's a do or die moment here for Rich as he throws a few units in to harass over in top right. Some storms are going to be thrown down here to try and save his life. Quite a few tanks here with not a lot of additional support. Just a few vultures over here on the right-hand side. Really good storms on big groups of these tanks. Can he push in with the few zealots and dragoons he has remaining? That's another great storm there, actually. Holding this off pretty well. He is going to regain control of this high ground. But again, falling behind in supply, behind in workers, behind in basically every way. Rich is just surviving for the moment. A bit of a blunder there by Mong in the way he decided to go about that attack. But in general, just handling things a little bit better. And the position is such that Rich really needs to do big damage. He needs to absolutely crush one of these armies, or things are just not going to go his way. He needs to get into top right, or possibly get on top of the factories and shut off production. At the same time, taking some more of these bases around the map would be nice. He just doesn't have the muscle to do so, and I feel him slowly bleeding out. We're gonna speed this up a little bit because we've got another game afterwards, and I don't think that Rich is going to be able to bring this one back. We'll give him a chance. See this last fight here? Could be the last fight of the game. Let's see. Zealot's on top of everything. Vultures here doing great against those Zealots, though. We have a few tanks left over. Where are the remainder of the forces for Mong? He's actually got a lot of his stuff on defense. Putting out another round of units here, but Rich just can't do anything. He's just sitting back. He's on defensive mode. And there's no real way to win like this. Like, yeah, you can survive, but there's no win condition here. It's kind of like playing Zerg when Protoss has half the map. And every trade is just worse for you. You know that you're whining less. You kind of have to go all in to try and kill a base. There's no real other choice. You have to try to rush in and take over. Otherwise, you're just kind of living on borrowed time. This is a great storm here in the back line. Follow-up storms are awesome as well, actually killing a lot of these tanks. He's going to overwhelm this position pretty handily. Still behind in supply, but making a pretty good try of it. Like, he's really giving it his all here. In each one of these fights, getting pretty decent trades. Better than you would think. Better than I would have thought. But coming up this high ground is another matter entirely. Can he actually do something like that? Can he actually break this? Shuttles are going to come around the side. There's so many mines. There's so many mines, and Observer is not quite on top of this. Looks like he's going to clear that out now. All right, never mind. Just going to lose the tank, or lose the Dragoon there. Tanks here in the middle might be killable. Come through with the Observer, just clear out all these mines and then push in. Goliath there is going to make it much harder to do so. Going to drop on top here. Zealots drag a lot of the mines in. And so clear the way for some further forces to try and claim the center. So many High Templar. So many High Templar here. Can't really do a whole lot with them. Here comes the Vultures, try and snipe them down. Couple storms go out. 2 High Templars do end up dying, though. Slowly pushing forward now. Mong's learned his lesson. Let's not be hasty. Still has plenty of minerals in top right. That's not forever. It's not endless. Scanning around the map, just checking, seeing what's going on. I'm going to slowly shove forward. Try to force a bad engagement out of Rich. I mean, he's been giving him so many good engagements so far. Maybe not so far, but I mean, in the last few minutes, it's just good engagement for Rich after good engagement. Gonna really get set up nicely here, and then slowly push forward. Yeah, see, this is all defending his flank. This big wave of tanks gonna come up over towards the natural. Setting up here well in advance. Here comes the shuttles from behind. Once again, getting some good shuttle placement here. Storm in the middle of all this could be huge. One mine there actually gets an amazing connection and gets rid of that High Templar at a pretty critical moment there before it could get a storm down, and GG is called. There it is. Mong takes game number 1. All right, guys, Mong down here in bottom left. We got Rich over in top left, and put on a pretty good show for himself there, game number 1. There were definitely opportunities for him to maybe win that game. Mong just very solid though overall, sliding over into that top right-hand corner. Had to take it really, really long because of his super late upgrade. But did manage to lock it down. Ended up taking some pretty good fights there at the end. Definitely suffering a little bit from the common problem that Starcraft Broodwar players have, which is trying to end the game a little bit too early, trying to end the game a little bit too quickly, and then taking a bad engage and then getting a huge setback. Like, there were plenty of moments there where Mong had the game kind of in the bag, but the attack was just not good, and then he ends up losing a ton of stuff, and then he's got to wait another, 10 minutes or 5 minutes for another big attempt to do another big push to try and end the game again. That happened a couple times for sure. Rich this time might want to get in the face of Mong a little bit more, try to shut him down earlier. Didn't really seem to have the chops to take it, 30 plus minutes, 6 space and above. He seemed a little bit shaky. Trying to get the moving shot here on Mong's SCV, but looks like he's broken that. Oh, barely in range. He's actually getting some extra hits. Good move by Mong. Turning that back around again. Hasn't had the opportunity to scout very much. And we'll end up losing this, I think. Oh, bit of a mistake there by Rich. He almost had it, but I think he's too far now. I don't think he can catch up. Even spamming move command, he's not going to be able to catch this. That's a little bit rough. Secondary SCV. Can it get past this probe? Very hard to block right here with the probe, and he does slip past. Drops his Nexus there at, what was it, 23? Second Dragoon pops out. Oh, he tries to block with the pylon, but couldn't quite make it work. And there it is. Dragoon finishes off that SCV, but it gets some good information. Sees the timing on the Nexus. Sees the number of Dragoons. Mong going to be able to avoid making an initial bunker, in fact. Hiding 2 Marines. This is a fake double. We're gonna pop out a tank here in a moment. And possibly in a second. How many tanks is he gonna wait for right now? That is interesting. Pull 1 Marine back. Brings up the tank. As far as Rich can tell, there's only 4 Marines here. But in fact, there are additional that are gonna be brought forward for this attack. Extra Dragoon being made, and there is a shield battery, so actually Rich really figuring this out well. Yeah, 2 gateways and a shield battery. I think he should be okay against this. Let's see how it goes. How many Marines here? 8 Marines, 2 tanks, and Vulture Rally with mines. 1 SCV being brought forward. This is a scary push. Can Rich survive against this? He's got range. Range definitely helps out a lot here. Tank's gonna come rushing forward here, try to get a couple more shots. Marines doing their job by just tanking Dragoon damage. Tanks here shoving forward. Getting in range here. SCV was killed, so he can't build a bunker or anything like that. Really good control with the probes. Very solid control with the probes, and no mines here means that these Dragoons can keep rushing this down. Yeah, you can't stay any longer than this. Oh my gosh, Mong gonna stay way too long, I feel. Okay, the mines do go down. He's got at least 1 mine to work with. A moment ago, he had 0, and I thought that he was gonna end up losing both the tanks. This 1 tank here. Is it gonna siege? Oh my gosh, he's got siege now. He's gonna try and push the issue. This is crazy. Mong gonna siege up now? Trying to target these down. Takes quite a bit of damage on that one tank. Both of them are very low. Both of them very low, by the way. Let's see. Can he get... Oh! Mine connection. Big mine hit there. That actually might end this game. Wait, he should be able to get the tank. Yeah, he can kill the tank. So both the tanks die. I'm gonna pull the probes. Try to kill this mine, at least. No, he doesn't. He doesn't target the mine. That's not very good. Mine's actually still alive, which could cause a pretty big issue. I'm gonna walk right into that. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Does make a wall, though. You know what? Maybe he can hold on here. He gets rid of the vulture. He makes a wall at the natural. Good thinking on his feet. Rich. Hanging in there for now. 2 tanks were killed. This game goes on, guys. This game was looking like it was just about over when that mine hit those 2 dragoons on the right-hand side there, and 2 tanks were still alive. It looked close to over, but Rich put enough damage on the tanks that he was able to target each of them down with just 1 dragoon. 1 dragoon hero ran out and just killed both of those tanks and keeps Rich alive in the game for now. He has a probe advantage. Has yet to take a third, though. Shuttle speed on the way. Reaver will be coming up here shortly. It's now passing the 8-minute mark with no third base just yet. It's a little bit rough for Rich, but he's kind of hanging back. He's a little bit scared of what's coming up next. See him just wanting to get this Reaver out as soon as possible. Checking for mines. No, nothing over here. If this was something like Knockout, I think he would have taken his third base a bit earlier. Might move the probe over. Yeah, just going to take the probe via the shuttle to go ahead and get that base online. It's kind of late, and so he needs it to work. He has to get that base going. So using the shuttle to escort, I think it's a reasonable idea. Definitely Mong was ready to look for the snipes there. Slow down that base as much as possible. Still sitting here on 2 gateways back in Mong's base, adding up to 5 factories. Possibility of just going for another 1-1 attack. Didn't quite work out for him last game, but he was able to follow it up with a pretty strong mid-game timing. Here we go. Nice job with the Reaver. Clearing out the vultures. Now has map control. Could potentially try and double expand. Take another base now. Take a 4th base. But mine's already set up over in that top right. Making it hard. Making it difficult for that to happen. Nice drop here. Right on top of everything. Can he get the 1? Yes, he does get the 1 tank. Really good kill there. Utilizing this Reaver well. Getting some damage. Mong here. Batting down in the natural. I'm a big fan of his, but I'm cheering for Rich right now. I feel like he's a bit of an underdog. $57 probes to 51 SCVs. Good snipe there on the observer. Mong looking towards that 3rd base. Gonna be setting up some defensive turrets over on the way to that base. I don't see a CC though. Is he actually gonna go for a 3rd, or is he just going to 6-fact timing attack and don't look back? It's kind of the way it's looking right now. There's the CC. Okay, he does start a CC in the main. 6-fact timing, but he is going to look back. Try to get another base online after going on this 1-1 attack. I think it's an alright idea. Not bad. Rich yet to take a 4th, which means his gateway count once again quite high. Will have a lot of forces to deal with this 1-1 timing. I think this is maybe an adjustment from Rich in how he plays. Oh, might lose the shuttle. Oh, that was really close. If those Goliaths had been slightly more to the right, he could have lost that immediately. Oh! Does lose one of those shuttles. Second shuttle takes some big damage here as well. Army just going straight into the natural. I'll have to picture this. I'll go ahead and follow the Reaver here. Let's see how much damage this can get done as the attack comes into the natural. Oh, not quite able to get these hits. Not quite able to get the big hits here. Lots of turrets being made right now. Just desperation turrets being thrown down over here at the main base. In the natural, big attack is being cleaned up. The tanks are super stacked, but there's nothing here to throw down some splash damage. No Reavers back at home, so everything gets splattered. It looks like the Reaver went down. Not sure how that happened. I'll have to picture that for sure. Sorry for going back and forth there, but the DTs all go down. Uh-oh. Rich in a lot of trouble now. I think he's handled this a little bit poorly. Mong, I like the idea. Just pull the SCVs away. Focus on the attack. And build turrets like crazy. Build a lot of turrets. You just throw turrets down everywhere. It's gonna make it hard for those Reavers to keep moving around inside the base. That's something that Barracks has been criticized for. Not focusing on the attack and trying to defend back at home against the Reaver. I feel like Mong has hit a good split between the two. Did enough defending back at home not to lose a critical number of SCVs, but also spend enough time attending the attack. So he managed to hold on with flying colors. He managed to deal a lot of damage here while holding on with flying colors. Dragoons coming in from behind, but there's too many tanks here, and GG is called. A Rich taps out. I'm gonna go back and just take a look at that attack once again. This is very Flash-esque, what was done here by Mong. Look at how he decides immediately as those shuttles fly past. He knows it's going for his main. Unsiege and just go. Everything goes. And he's definitely paying attention to his army here. Pushing it forward, getting right up into the mineral line. No pull on the SCVs until he pulls to fight, which turns out to be not the best decision here. Everything gets absolutely crushed. And the DTs aren't quite able to save the day. If he had a little bit of splash damage, like let's say he had another Reaver back at home with a shuttle and he was able to get a hit in the middle of all those tanks, he actually might have been able to clear this, and we might have seen this attack similar to what we've seen with Barracks, right? Look at this. Look at how clumped up these tanks are. Could land a Scarab or a Reaver and drop a Scarab right in the middle of these tanks. 4 tanks would go down instantaneously. But because there was nothing here for Rich, aside from just Dragoon Zealot, was not able to save this base. I think it might have been a better idea to pull the probes. Pull the probes, focus on the attack, wait for a bit of splashdowns, wait for one of these Reavers to pop out, let the natural Nexus fall, and just hope that he can get enough damage done and get the cleanup afterwards, but wasn't quite able to make it happen. Let's see what happened to this Reaver, by the way. What, did he just not make Scarabs? He's got no scarabs. Oh my gosh. He's got no scarabs. He flies right into the turrets. Okay. Alright, guys. That's it for me for today. That's enough Broodwar for one day. I played on the ladder today and it was pretty rough. We had a bit of a struggle session. It is what it is. Thank you so much to all the Patreon subs out there. Special shout out to you guys. Really appreciate you all. We'll be back for another one tomorrow. Also, we're gonna do something for Halloween as well, by the way. If you guys are available on the 30th at night, Halloween stream, I'm gonna be playing with some of my friends. We'll probably play a scary game or something like that. Come check it out. Come hang out. It'll be fun. We'll see you there.